Welcome to the Aligned Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Pooja Venkatraman. I'm a double Harvard grad, former BCG consultant, and now an executive coach for high achievers. On this podcast, we are going to tackle the 4 key things that you need to figure out in order to live a life of aligned ambition. Those 4 things are stress, productivity, performance, and purpose. We are going to make sure that you're driving your car in the direction that you actually want to go. That is the purpose part. We're also going to make sure that your progress along the road is consistent and effective. That's the productivity and performance part. And we're going to make sure that the fuel you're pouring into your tank isn't so noxious that it's filling your car with fumes and making the whole ride miserable. That is the stress part. Because if you can tackle those 4 things, stress, productivity, performance, and purpose, you can build the life and the career that you actually want. Not the life you think you're supposed to have, not the life that burns you out or doesn't fit quite right, but the life you actually want. One that fulfills your biggest ambitions and unleashes your fullest potential without sacrificing your sanity, your relationships, your authenticity, or your paycheck. A life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. That's what aligned ambition is all about. Let's get started. Hey guys, I have a hot take for you today, and it is the closer that you are to traditional success, the harder it is to find fulfillment. Now, this might sound very counterintuitive because you might think, no, traditional success is the path to fulfillment. Those 2 things are one and the same. That's the only reason people work so hard and try to achieve success is because they think that getting there will make them happy, make them feel fulfilled, make them feel secure, make them feel like they're good enough, make them feel like they've arrived and they can finally relax. So you might be thinking, what are you talking about? Traditional success is fulfillment. So why would you tell me that the closer you are to traditional success, the harder it is to find fulfillment? I know it can be a little counterintuitive, but this is a phenomenon that I see all the time. I work with people that are really successful on paper. I work with Ivy League grads, people that have worked at top consulting firms, top finance firms, top tech firms, people whose resumes and LinkedIn profiles, if you looked at them, you would be like, oh my gosh, they're so successful. They're so on top of things. They have it all figured out. And those people come to me when they're feeling like, hey, I have what I worked for. Like I've achieved a lot of the things I really wanted to achieve. I worked so hard to get it. And now that I'm here on the mountaintop, or at least one of the mountaintops that I wanted to be on, something feels off. I'm not happy. I don't like it. I don't feel fulfilled. I feel misaligned. I feel like maybe I'm on the wrong path. Something is not right. This is so weird because I worked really hard to get here. And I thought that once I got here, I'd feel good. I'd feel like I'd arrived, but instead I don't feel good. What's going on? And this can be very shocking and surprising, right? It can almost be a little bit destabilizing because it's like, wait, that's the whole reason I work so hard is to get that feeling of like arrival and I've made it and I'm there and I feel good and I feel fulfilled and I did all the things. I checked all the boxes. I did all the stuff I was supposed to do, but I don't feel that way. What is going on? It can be very surprising. And then also people can get very spun up about, okay, what do I do about it? What's next? And people can go into a lot of all or nothing thinking around thinking either they have to leave their prestigious job and just do something totally different, but that feels very scary because they're like, this pays really well. And I like my lifestyle and I like the level of status that this affords me. So that feels, and I don't really know what else I would do. So that feels scary. Or they think the other all or nothing choice is, well, I guess I just have to stay here and like feel sort of flat and feel sort of off, but like that's life and that's being an adult, I guess. Right? So 2 not great options that come from all or nothing thinking that people's brains will usually come up with. Right? And luckily, the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? Luckily, neither of those is actually the answer. But this phenomenon is something I've experienced multiple times in my career. I know a lot of people have experienced it. Most of my clients are experiencing it in some way. And today, what I want to do is explain it to you and explain why it's happening and help you understand, first off, you're totally normal. Nothing's going wrong here. And also your next steps are not these 2 not great all or nothing options, but actually there's a lot of nuance in the middle and how you should actually approach being in this situation. So in order to explain this phenomenon, the first thing I want to tell you is it's not that traditional success is just never fulfilling. And it's impossible to find fulfillment in the halls of traditional success, right? I'm not someone who's like, oh, all big corporate jobs or all like traditionally successful people are just empty inside. And these jobs are like inherently soul crushing. I don't think that's the case. Therefore, I'm also not going to tell you, hey, you have to give up all forms of traditional success in order to find fulfillment and happiness. That's also not the case. The answer is actually more subtle in terms of what's causing this, and what you should do is also somewhere in the middle. And my goal is always to help you have both. Help you have traditional success and feel really proud of what you're doing, proud of your LinkedIn page, proud of what you're telling your classmates when you go back to reunions. And I want you to feel good inside. I want you to have that sense of fulfillment and alignment and like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. I want to be doing this. It's not that I should be doing this or I have to do this. I want to be doing this. So I want to explain this phenomenon with an analogy first off. I want to use the analogy to athletics, right? Being an athlete and having success in athletics. So I'm someone who has never been athletic in my entire life. I always was just like hiding in gym class and hoping no one looked at me and no one threw me the ball. I didn't understand how any of the games worked. I didn't understand why we were doing anything we were doing, right? I have never been anywhere close to having any kind of success in athletics, and I have no athletic accomplishments whatsoever, right? And I also don't have a sense of like loss. Right? I don't think that I'm missing out on something. I don't think that I like could have gotten it, but I didn't get it. I don't feel like I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. Like I know a lot of people like were college athletes, and obviously some people become pro athletes. And I see that there's this whole sort of hierarchy of athletic people. And I'm just sort of like, that's nice. It's just irrelevant to me, right? I just literally don't think about it. And I have no sense of like insecurity or like low status because of my lack of athletic accomplishments. Because I'm like, I'm not even on that ladder, right? I don't even live in that world. I didn't even like start climbing the ladder. So I can't feel bad about my position on the ladder because I just like divorced myself from the ladder altogether. Right. And so my athletic skills are totally irrelevant to my own like identity, self-concept, and like sense of whether or not I'm doing a good job. Right. So I have no mental drama about athletics. Now compare me to someone who was good at athletics. Right. Maybe they showed promise as a kid. They were like unusually kind of good or fast, and they had good instincts. They enjoyed it. They had fun. Like when they played sports, it felt like it was expressing something in them, expressing their innate talents. They genuinely enjoyed it. So they had this like inner desire to like play sports, and they started getting positive external feedback. Right? Adults praised them. They were like, wow, you're really good at this. Maybe their parents like put them in extra classes or signed them up for a travel team. Maybe they're the star of the travel team. They're the star of their like, their high school team. And so this person who's good at athletics ended up in this situation where their inner desires aligned with an external success template, right? Because if you start showing a little promise in sports, there's a success template that you can start following. It's right there for you. And it's like, hey, I don't actually know what it is because I really don't know a lot about this, but I imagine it's something like start playing travel sports, become the star of your team, get recruited, to a top school for the sport that you play, and maybe even go pro, right? So there's this external success template that like suddenly becomes relevant to them, right? That template is not relevant to me because I just didn't even engage. I'm like not good at it at all. But if you're a little bit good, right? If you show some promise, suddenly this external success template pops up next to you and you start feeling the temptation and the desire to be like, ooh, I want to like fulfill that template. I want to check all of these boxes, right? So let's say this person who's good at athletics, they get recruited to a top school, maybe they even end up going pro, and then they have the sense of like, I could really make it, like I could really do this thing. And then they hit a point where they're like, wait, not having fun anymore. I'm not enjoying this. I feel like I've lost the plot. Like, why did I originally get into this? Like, I know I'm so like successful on paper, but I'm just not feeling it inside. Right? That's the point that a lot of high achievers reach in their careers, where they're like, I have everything I wanted. I am so successful on paper. Everything like should be going fine. But internally, I feel like I've lost the plot. And like, why am I not happy? Right? Like, why do I not feel like this is working? And you can imagine for that person who's really good at sports, it's actually really hard for them to think clearly about the situation. And it's going to be really hard for them to walk away. And the reason that this is happening, right, as compared to me, right, like I have no mental drama. I have no thoughts about like, oh, I should be good at sports. Oh, I'm like losing something by not being good at sports. I have none of that drama because I never even started climbing that ladder. The external success template for athletics never popped up in my life. And so it's very easy for me to just stick to my own true desires when it comes to athletics and fitness. I just do exactly what I feel like doing. And I am never distracted by the external success template of athletics because it never really became relevant to me. Right? Versus for someone who's actually shows promise and maybe gets recruited to a top school for their sport and then like has the chance to go pro, their compass is going to get distracted. Right? They have their inner desires and the true things that they actually want, right? That's their internal compass. And then there's this magnet next to them. And the magnet is the external success template that's like relevant in that situation, right? And that magnet is going to keep pulling them off course and distracting them from their true wants and their true desires. So this is why the closer that you are to traditional success in any arena, the harder it is to find fulfillment. Because once you start showing promise, right, this magnet is going to show up, right? This magnet of the external success template is going to show up, and it's going to start pulling you off course. It's going to start pulling your inner compass needle off course, and it's going to start creating this like confusing situation where you're like, hang on, the magnet says I should do this, right? Like the external success template says I should do this. My inner compass says I should do something different. But now you're going to feel this sense of loss, right? Your brain is going to get scared of like, wait, but I'm losing something if I don't follow the external success template. I'm losing status. I'm losing potential. Maybe I'm making the wrong choice. Maybe I'm just like wrong about my own inner desires. Right now, this sense of loss can happen, or the sense of like, I could make a mistake, I could screw something up because of this distinction, right? This gap between what your own inner compass is saying and what the external success template is saying to do, right? That's why if you're close to traditional success, it's actually harder. Versus for me in athletics, I'm not even close to that external success template. So it's really easy for me to just follow my own inner compass and find perfect fulfillment in my athletic pursuits, right? Because I literally just do what I want to do and I'm not at all distracted by like what I'm supposed to be doing. So let's talk about what's the difference between your true inner desires, your inner compass, versus the magnet of the external success template, because they're very different from each other. Your true inner desires are all about the process. It's all about your experience as you're actually doing the work. And it usually is about you loving the work itself, enjoying the work itself, enjoying the problem solving, enjoying the tasks you have to do. It often feels like you're expressing who you are, like there's something inside you that's innate in you that's coming out, and that feels really good. And it feels like you're moving in the direction that you inherently want to go, right? So your inner compass is all about the process, the like actual experience, and how it feels to be in the problem solving, right? And that's where that sense of flow comes from, is you just are absorbed in the process, time disappears, and you're like, oh, like this is the work I love. This is the work I would do for free on a weekend. Like I just love doing this, like for the sake of doing it. That's what your inner compass is all about. The external success template is very different. The external success template is all about milestones, brands, rewards, and just like crossing thresholds, right? Crossing finish lines. It's very outcome focused. It's all about like, which school did you go to? Or if you're an athlete, which school did you get recruited to? Was it a D1 school or a D3 school? Which team did you get drafted on? What position are you in? What's your salary? Right? Or if you're in your career, it's all about like, which schools did you go to? What companies are you working at? How quickly did you get promoted? How much are you making? Are you in a C-suite role yet? The external success template is all about these like, it's all very outcome focused, right? And it's all about these externally visible milestones, brand names, rewards, goalposts that you cross. That's usually what the external success template looks like. Now, the external success template is not bad. It's not sinister. It's not out to get you, right? It's not like society conspiring to steal your soul, and make you externally successful, but internally unfulfilled. There's no malintent in the external success template. The external success template is just based on a cognitive illusion that all of us have, that all of our brains share. And the cognitive illusion is, if I just get that, I will be happy, right? In your career, that could look like, if I just get into that firm, I'll be happy. If I just get the promotion, then I'll be happy. If I'm just making this amount of money, then I'll be happy. If I just quit my job and, become a painter, then I'll be happy, right? It's like all about, if I just like achieve this milestone or get this circumstance, then I'll be happy. This illusion also shows up in every area of your life, right? In relationships, in romantic relationships, it's very easy to think, if I just find my person, then I'll be happy. If I just get married, then I'll be happy. If I just have kids, right? And I like achieve the white picket fence dream, then I'll be happy. This also shows up in fitness, right? It's very easy to think, if I just lose the last 10 pounds, then I'll be happy. If I just can like achieve my fitness goals, then I'll be happy. It can show up in like style. If I just update my wardrobe, like then I'll be happy. So this is a very, very common cognitive illusion. All our brains are susceptible to it, which is this idea of like, if I can just get over there, if I can just get that thing or achieve that thing, then I would have arrived. Then I will be there, right? And I'll be good and I'll be successful and I'll be happy. It's just a thing that all of our brains do. And so you'll feel it, right? That's where this like success template comes from, is like your own brain will generate it. People's brains will generate it. And then as a society, right, when everyone's brains are generating these like success templates based on this cognitive illusion, that's where we also start getting social pressure, right? Like we coalesce around these success templates as a society. And so that's why you'll have like parents encouraging their kids to be like, hey, you should be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, right? It's that thinking of like, well, if you just achieve that thing, you'll be set, right? You'll be good for life. Or, hey, if you show some promise in athletics, like, okay, we should get you on the track. Like we should like, put you on the, travel team, and we should aim to get you recruited to a top school for your sport. And we should aim to like to have you go pro. Like your parents and your society will encourage you, right? If you show a little promise, all of a sudden people will be like, oh my gosh, how much could you achieve? Like, who could you be? You could go to the Olympics. You could be a CEO. People will start thinking you could achieve these huge milestones, and that would be so amazing for you. That's what you should do, and that would make you so happy, right? It's like the people around you falling prey to that same cognitive illusion. And then the other thing that happens is not only do like your parents and your friends and like society also fall prey to that illusion, in addition to you falling prey to it, but also industries, right? Businesses start getting built around that cognitive illusion. And that's why you'll see things like college admissions consulting, right? Because it'll be like, hey, like you should want to get into this school and I'm going to help you do that, right? And I'm sure there's like tons of coaching for kids that show promise in athletics. Be like, oh, let's help you get better. And those things aren't bad, by the way, right? Like I'm totally for like, college admissions consulting and extra coaching, for promising athletes. It's not that any of those things are bad, right? But those things just continue to feed the narrative that if you achieve this milestone, if you check the box on the success template, you will arrive and you will be happy. Right? So the external success template that just pops up next to you anytime you show any promise in anything, right? Anytime your inner desires actually lead you towards, like wanting to do something and showing a little promise in it, that external success template that pops up, it's not sinister. It's not malicious. No one is out to get you. No one is out to beat you down or like force you to go down this path. It's just a very common cognitive illusion that your own brain is going to have, that the people around you are going to have, and you're probably going to start getting some marketing that will also support that cognitive illusion. Right. And so that's very, very normal. And this is why the closer you are to traditional success, the harder it is to find fulfillment. Right? Because that magnet, that external success template, which is not, malicious, but which is very present, right? It's going to keep happening because our brains are wired this way. It's going to start pulling you off course, right? And you're going to start to get distracted from your own inner compass needle, which is process focused and which just has its own opinion, right? Like, this is what I truly want. That voice is going to start getting distracted and drowned out by the external success template, which is going to be like, this is what you should do. You should achieve this milestone and this milestone and this milestone and do this and do this and do this. And by the way, you definitely shouldn't give up any of those milestones, right? You shouldn't walk away from it. You shouldn't walk away from that path. You shouldn't go backwards because that's going to mean something's going wrong, right? You're losing success. You're losing status, like something's off. So what are you supposed to do when you find yourself in this very tricky situation where your internal compass needle pulls you close to some of these external success templates? The other analogy I like to think of is like as if you are like rowing a rowboat really close to like a vortex, right? To a whirlpool, like in the ocean. And you're like, I'm so sorry. Like my rowboat really does go like within like 5 inches of the vortex. Like truly the true course of my rowboat, the true direction I'm supposed to go in is like really close to this vortex, and I now need to do the incredible mental work of like actually keeping the course and staying true to what I want and to my innate desires and not getting pulled into the vortex. And like, that's just my path. That is my destiny. That's how my story is supposed to unfold. Other people, their rowboat doesn't go close to a vortex, right? Like for me in athletics, my athletics rowboat does not go near any traditional athletic success vortex or whirlpool. It's very easy for me to navigate my athletics journey in my life. I can just be very focused on what I want, right? But like in other areas of your life, right? Your rowboat path, the path that you want to go on, can come very, very close to some of these very intense whirlpools that can end up pulling you off course. So what you have to do when this is your path, right? When this is how your story is unfolding, is that like some of your true pathways go so close to some of these vortexes. The main thing that you have to do is really, first off, just start to be able to distinguish between what is my inner compass speaking versus what's the vortex? What's the whirlpool? What's the magnet of the external success template and what I'm supposed to be doing? In the simplest terms, you have to be able to distinguish between want versus should. Right? That's the simplest way to say it is as you hear all the chatter in your own brain and all the different little conflicting instincts in your system, you need to get practice in distinguishing what is the want, what's my true inner compass saying, and what's the should. What's the vortex? What's the whirlpool? What's the magnet? So you have to be able to even just distinguish between those two things. That's step one. Then once you can distinguish between wants and shoulds, you have to listen to your wants. Right? You have to say, okay, I'm going to follow my inner compass. I'm going to follow the direction my rowboat wants to go in. I'm going to prioritize that. And I'm going to problem solve in that direction, right? So I'm going to put my wants first. I'm going to put what my inner compass is saying as the first priority. That's the primary variable that I'm solving around. And then I'm going to say, if that's the thing that we're holding steady, how do we achieve everything else, right? How do I make sure I support my lifestyle? How do I make sure I love what I do? I'm proud of what I do. Everything else I need for my career to support me, I'm going to figure that out, but I'm holding steady the variable of what I want. What my inner compass is saying. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Most people do it the other way around, right? Most people will hold steady the variable of like what the external success template says they have to do, right? They'll hold steady like what the pull of the vortex. They'll be like, well, I'm supposed to continue like accumulating brand names, or I'm supposed to continue like on this pathway. That's the variable I'm going to hold steady. And then like, how can I try to get what I want like in the middle of that, right? They'll kind of solve around that. I'm saying reverse it, right? Like put as the primary variable, the first thing you put into the equation is here's what I want. Here's what my inner compass is saying, and then solve around that, make everything else fall into line around that. So that's what you really have to do. And like doing this really requires a mindset shift that I'll call going from being the achiever to being the creator, right? Being the achiever is all about saying, okay, if that's my success template, if that's what I'm supposed to do, head down, get it done, right? And you're really good at that. All my clients are really freaking good at that. But when you shift to the creator mindset is all about saying, hang on, what do I want? What do I think? What is my inner compass actually saying? Let me question, right? Some of the elements of this external success template, if they don't make sense to me, or if they don't align with what my inner compass is saying, I'm going to have to question them. And I'm going to have to decide, here's my inner success template, right? Here's my inner rubric that I actually have to follow. So you have to engage with what you actually want. You have to question the external success template when it doesn't align with what you want. And then you have to figure out, how do I create the life I want? How do I create the career I want? I'm not just achieving. I'm not just heads down. You gave me the template. You gave me the check boxes. Check, check, check. Off we go. I am creating. I am anchoring on what I actually want. And then I'm every day engaging in the active problem solving of how do I actually build the career that I want? And I'm in charge here. I'm the CEO of this, and I have to create this every day. I'm not just executing. I'm not just achieving on what I'm supposed to do, but I'm actively creating the life that I want and the career that I want. So it's the shift from this achiever mindset to the creator mindset. So if you are in this position, right, where you're like, I've gotten a lot of the things that I wanted, and like I've achieved a lot of the things I wanted to achieve, and I am confused and concerned that I don't feel good inside, right? That I'm either feeling stressed or unfulfilled or misaligned, or just something feels off. This is so weird. What's happening, right? And if your brain is generating these all or nothing solutions of like, okay, am I supposed to quit my job and just like, become a painter somewhere? Or am I supposed to just resign myself to like being on this path? And like, I guess fulfillment is like not a thing that adults feel. If your brain is giving you those all or nothing solutions, I wanted to give you this podcast episode to just explain what's happening, right? Because it's not this all or nothing thing. What's really happening is that your inner desires have led you on a path that has some level of alignment with this external success template, right? Like your rowboat is just going really close to this vortex. That's all that's happening. And that just means that you have to be even more on it in terms of being very clear on what you want, what your compass is telling you to do, prioritizing that first, and then solving everything around that. And you have to shift from being this achiever who just goes and gets it done and checks all the boxes and jumps through all the hoops, shift into being a creator, right? Who's a little more skeptical, who's a little more anchored to what they actually want, who puts themselves in the driver's seat and is anchoring to their own authority, and then is actively every day actually figuring out how to create the career that they want, not just checking off the check boxes. So I know that can sound like a lot, but luckily, this is exactly why I offer free career audits. This is the best first step that you can take if you're finding yourself in this position. come talk to me and let's actually do an audit of your career. Let's figure out what are the parts of it that align with your internal wants and what are the parts of it that are actually getting distracted or getting pulled off course by the external success template. Let's actually just do that assessment together. I'm really good at this. I have lots of pattern recognition. I've done this with so many people at this point. So what might feel kind of confusing to you is going to be really simple and clear to me because I see this all the freaking time. I know exactly what questions to ask you. I know exactly how to assess all of this. And so we'll work together. We'll do the audit. We'll figure out what is working and what's not working in your career right now. And I'm also going to tell you what's causing the gaps, right? That's the other thing I'm really good at and have a lot of experience in is doing that diagnostic of like, if this is where your wants and your shoulds are diverging, why? Why is that happening? Is it an internal issue? Is it an external issue? We'll be able to diagnose all of that. And you'll also have a game plan of like, what should I do? Now that I've figured out where, like, what's working, what's not working in my career, where the magnet of the external success template is pulling me off course, and these are the areas where I actually need to align to my true wants, and this is why I'm having trouble doing that, I'm also going to give you the game plan of like, here's what you should actually do about it to close those gaps and have the career that you actually want. So I know that this can feel like a lot of work that you might have to do, or just like confusing mentally to work through. It's always harder when it's your career, it's your baby, you know, you are the one with the emotional skin in the game. But luckily for you, I don't have emotional skin in the game. It's very easy for me to stay objective, stay calm, not get kind of emotionally worked up. And I have so much pattern recognition because I work with people on this all the time. So it's going to be very quick for me to be able to tell you, oh, these are the 3 gaps. This is what's causing them, and this is what you have to do about it. That's literally what I do all day long. So if you're experiencing this problem, the first and easiest step that you can take is to book that free career audit with me. The link to that is in the episode description. And let's talk about it and let's figure out exactly where your career is diverging from what you want it to be and what you should do about it. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Aligned Ambition podcast. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and share this podcast with anyone you know that you think could use it. If you'd like to explore working together in a one-on-one coaching engagement with me, book a free consult call at poojavcoaching.com/contact. You can grab that link in the episode description. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or topics you want me to cover in this podcast, shoot me an email at pooja@poojavcoaching.com. You can grab that in the episode description too. Talk to you soon.